What's going on, everybody? This is Steve from Bloom Audio. Today we're going to talk about the Vision Ears EXT Mark II. The original EXT was sort of like my forgotten favorite IEM. People always ask, what's your favorite IEMs? What are your top 5? And there's always that one, like, what's the one that I really want to say right now? And it's the EXT. And it's this sort of thing when you have access to the latest and greatest. There's always something new to drop, something new to listen to. But when I'd reach into that demo cabinet and see that EXT, it almost always ends up in my ear. And with the EXT2 hitting the streets, now I've got to think, is this going to replace the original EXT in that top 5 list for me? For everyone listening, what exactly is EXT2? Who's it for? And should you buy it? Let's take a closer look. EXT2 shares its basic design with the original EXT, so that means it's a hybrid dynamic and EST-based IEM. It uses 2 dynamic drivers, and the unique thing here is that one dynamic driver is for the bass, and the other one is for the mids, with the EST drivers handling the top end. So you get this unique combination of a really natural, organic sounding mid-range, a really solid bass impact and extension, and then this incredibly fast technical high end from those electrostatic drivers. In terms of specs, there are 6 total drivers, with a 9.2 millimeter dynamic driver for the bass, a 6 millimeter dynamic driver for the mid-range, and 4 EST electrostatic tweeters for the treble. The impedance is 10 ohms. The sensitivity is 108.5 dB. Other than a somewhat unconventional driver configuration, another thing that makes EXT stand out is the fit. The original EXT had this very almost custom IEM-like fit, and for some people it fit great and you got an amazing seal and really tight, secure fit there, but a lot of people just couldn't make it work. EXT2 changes things up a little bit, primarily with the nozzles. The original EXT had these huge, kind of elliptical looking nozzles that were almost impossible to get ear tips on for a lot of people. EXT2 changes that nozzle to a more traditional design, easier to get ear tips on and easier to get a good fit in your ears. Now, this is Vision Ears we're talking about, so the construction, the design, the build, all of that is excellent. This looks and feels like a top-end IEM, and at $33.99, it should. Package includes the typical stuff: cable, a case, some ear tips, some other extras there. Speaking of ear tips, felt like that was one of the most important parts of the EXT2 experience, was really rolling the ear tips, figuring out what works best. I usually use a large, but I found myself going with a medium and even a couple smalls. The cable is also a little bit improved on the original. You get a 4.4 millimeter connection now instead of a 2.5, which was the original default. And they improved the 2-pin connector. EXT1, I had a lot of trouble keeping those in. I would constantly lose them, drop them. So cables definitely improved this time around, though it's the same basic materials and construction for the included cable. So with all that in mind, who is EXT2 for? So if you're looking at EXT2, I'd say the first thing to do is think about the fit. You're comfortable with a pretty wide range of larger IEMs. You're gonna be fine here. It's actually smaller than a lot of, the $3,000 plus tri-brid, quad-brid, etc. type IEMs. It's just a little bit differently shaped. And of course, once you've got that through, the big question is the sound. In terms of the sound signature, again, you're gonna get a nice, well-extended, slightly emphasized bass, very natural, organic feeling timbre, a strong mid-range that goes up into this very fast resolving treble. There is a little bit of an extra 10K pump there that's gonna give you some stronger definition, give you that really fast technical feeling. It all blends together really nicely with this balance of a highly natural but very fast technical sound that just makes for a really engaging listen. From my time with EXT2, I'd say this is a great flagship endgame IEM. If you love, rock, alternative, especially a little bit skewed towards modern, though it's great for classic rock as well. That mid-range dynamic driver just does a great job with instruments like guitars. You get a good sense of the bass, excellent texture. The bass quality is just kind of like off the charts. Vocals are generally strong. I really like female vocals on this. I did feel some male vocals were slightly set back, but again, depending on your preference, that's just gonna bring out the instrumentation a little bit more, bring things like hard-hitting guitars or even a lot of synthesizers a little bit more forward in the mix. And you get that hard-hitting bass that's fundamental for rock, pop, electronic, and hip-hop music. EXT II is also great with classical and film score music. Again, this is a really well-balanced IEM. It's hitting those technical aspects well, and it has that really natural timbre. So music that relies primarily on acoustic instruments is going to sound very lifelike and natural. What it doesn't have is that huge, expansive soundstage that a lot of people are looking for if you listen to a lot of film score and classical orchestral type music. EXT II does have a nice sized stage with a really good sense of three-dimensionality and very holographic feeling between the weight of those instruments. Again, that sort of weighty organic sound in the mid-range and that nice definition at the top gives you the clear separation you need in a good-sized three-dimensional stage. It's just not huge, you know, like the Novus or Raven, some of the other IEMs out there that do focus more on the soundstage. So when thinking about who exactly this is for, EXT II is perfectly balanced for someone whose primary genres are in that rock, pop, electronic, and hip-hop range, but they want to enjoy a broad range of music, and they're really craving the refinement of high-end IEMs, but with a balance that skews more towards the music that they love. And I've also heard a few people call themselves timbre heads, and that's another one that's gonna be strong here if you want that incredible natural lifelike timbre and the fast technical performance. EXT II is very strong there as well. So should you buy EXT II? As we've said, the standout here is that combination of hard-hitting bass impact, excellent texture, and lifelike organic mid-range that then extends up into these blistering fast, incredible highs. So if you're comparing it to like a bass head IEM like the Empire Ears Triton, that is gonna give you bigger, deeper, harder hitting low end than EXT II will. But EXT II definitely has an advantage in the quality of the bass, clarity and the texture you're gonna hear in the low end, the sense of separation. You know, a lot of bands combine things like electronic synthesized bass instruments with a live, you know, electric bass, and just being able to feel both the cohesion in the mix with those instruments and the separation between them is the sort of thing EXT II does really well that EXT original didn't do quite as well, and a more bass head tilted IEM like Triton isn't gonna deliver at the same level. Compared to something like the Empire Ears Raven, EXT II seems a little bit more natural and understated. Again, this is an IEM that really nails the timbre and organic feeling in the mid-range, so where it doesn't have the deep bass extension, doesn't have the super wide stage, it just has a very lifelike feeling that by comparison makes, you know, Raven just feel kind of exaggerated versus the more down-to-earth EXT II. What I think EXT II really embodies is that sense of, you know, growing up without becoming a grown-up. When you turn 40 or turn 50 or turn 60 or whatever it is, you don't suddenly have to just start listening to jazz and classical. You can still listen to grunge. You can listen to nu metal, listen to Linkin Park or Limp Bizkit or whatever. And EXT II is going to be there for you. It's grown up in the sense that it has this additional level of refinement and detail. It's not just going to throw a bunch of, you know, big bloated bass at you, but it can still hit hard without that big bloated bass. And if you do want to sit down and enjoy some Hans Zimmer soundtracks, EXT II is perfect for that too. It basically just walks that line and gives you a balance of fun and refinement that I think a lot of seasoned audiophiles are going to love. Thanks for watching. You can check out EXT2 and a lot of other great products at bloomaudio.com. Be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll be back soon with more high-fidelity audio content.